In this video, we'll discuss the reasons you're out of control around food. There are many reasons a person may have an eating disorder, especially overeating. Depression is often associated with overeating. Sometimes overeating can be a result of depression. At other times, it can be the other way around, whereby a person's depression is caused by their eating disorder. Another complex factor that can influence the development of overeating is a person's genetic or biological makeup. The environment you live in and where you grew up can also play a significant role, along with your social situation. It's believed that a person's upbringing and social development when young and the way in which they were taught to deal with their emotions and emotional pain or conflicts can have a significant impact on their eating habits and stress-related eating patterns. Studies show that many people who binge can even experience losing consciousness and severely diminished perception of reality. When someone has a long history of overeating and then they try to restrict their food intake, their body's biological response will go into famine mode. In other words, their body prepares itself for a period of being deprived of food as a defense mechanism. It starts to shut down or slow down most of the normal functions in an effort to conserve energy. It also starts to trigger an array of different hunger sensors or natural craving mechanisms whose purpose is to spur the mind into searching for available food sources. This is a primeval survival technique left over from a time when food was a very scarce commodity and hard to get a hold of. The hunger hormone ghrelin is responsible for stimulating our appetite. Our body releases it when our stomach is empty, and it stops releasing it when our stomach begins to fill. While we eat, there are two psychological factors that are working. Our mind decides when we eat. Although we are now creatures of habit, we once, and for most of our history, were hunters or hunted and gatherers and did not have a pattern of eating regularly, especially not 3 times a day. Science has not yet been able to explain how we get hungry or why we decide to start eating, but it's clear that there are many factors that come together to start the mind working in the process of getting us ready to eat. Although we think we are in control of what we eat, we think that our normal, rational, and fully conscious brain is deciding what and when we eat. We're very much influenced by physiological forces that most of us are unaware of. Some of the factors that influence our eating are our particular set of genes, our own hormones, the social cues we recognize, the behavior patterns we've learned, environmental factors including pollution levels, our circadian rhythm, the amount of energy we've been using, the last time we ate something. Although it is not scientifically proven, it is believed that there are 2 reasons we eat, or rather why we decide to eat. Either we get the nourishment and energy for our bodily needs, or homeostatic eating, or we eat to manage our emotions, or basically for pleasure, or hedonic eating. For most people, it's a matter of trying to do both. They look for food with a high nutritional value, but at the same time, they have to enjoy it. This, in theory, would satisfy both a person's emotional and physical needs, and that is if all of the available food had high nutritional content. But in reality, most of the food that is easily available to everyone today is highly processed food or junk food. These types of food are almost always made with a very low nutritional content, but a very high carbohydrate and chemical content. So it tastes good, highly addictive, but destroys your body. The burning question that no one wants to address is why people actually want to eat so much and why it's so hard for them to stop. This is not a question of willpower, although some people with exceptionally strong willpower, although they are unlikely to be overeaters, will probably find it not so difficult to stop overeating. For most of us, the answer highly depends on our body types, how it reacts around food, our metabolism rate, and natural eating patterns. Our body evolved in a hunter-gatherer mode. It was not designed to eat the 3 square meals a day many health and nutritional advisors have been trying to convince us of for decades. Our natural feeding rhythm is probably more like all other mammals in the world. They eat when they find or catch their food and have a cycle of eating what's available and storing any excess that they had consumed as fat, then waiting for the next meal. While waiting or sleeping, they would have been relying on using up their fat reserves, a natural feast and famine cycle. Eating is often done on autopilot, and our conscious mind hardly notices it. Have you experienced instances when you snack on a bag of chips while doing something else, such as watching the television, but don't remember doing so until the whole bag was empty? This is an example of your overeating habits taking over your actions and subconscious mind without you knowing it.